The morning of my granddaughter's 7th birthday began with sunshine. Soft, golden light slipped through my kitchen curtains and spilled across the table where I had been sitting since dawn, tying pink ribbons around small gift bags. My hands are slower than they used to be, but I still take pride in making things beautiful, especially for Lily. Lily is my only granddaughter, the only child of my son Daniel, the light of my life. For weeks I had been planning this party, not because anyone asked me to, but because no one else seemed to care enough to do it properly. Daniel works long hours, and my daughter-in-law Vanessa has always believed effort is something other people should provide. When Lily turned 6 last year, the celebration had been rushed. Store-bought cupcakes, mismatched decorations, and guests who didn't even know her favorite color. I had watched my granddaughter smile politely while her eyes searched the room for something magical. This year, I promised myself it would be different. I booked the community hall. I ordered a custom princess cake with Lily's name written in shimmering sugar. I arranged a magician. I paid for everything, every balloon, every chair cover, every paper plate with glittering castles printed on it. I never mentioned the total cost to Daniel. He already struggles with bills. I wanted to help without making him feel small. Vanessa knew I was paying. She didn't object. In fact, she smiled when I told her. "Oh, that's wonderful," she said, tapping at her phone. "Just make sure everything looks modern. I don't want it to look old-fashioned." Old-fashioned. The word stung more than I expected. I have baked for church fundraisers for 30 years. I raised 2 children on a single income after my husband passed. I have hosted weddings, graduations, anniversaries. I know how to throw a party. But I swallowed my pride. Because this wasn't about me. It was about Lily. By noon, the hall looked like something out of a fairy tale. Pink and lavender balloons floated against the ceiling. Long tables were draped in soft satin cloths. The cake sat in the center, 3 perfect tiers crowned with a sugar tiara. When Lily walked in wearing her sparkly dress, her mouth fell open. "Grandma, is this for me?" I knelt down, smoothing her curls, every bit of it. She wrapped her arms around my neck. That hug alone was worth every penny. Guests began arriving soon after, parents from school, a few cousins, children running and laughing. For a while, everything felt perfect. Then Vanessa arrived. She stepped into the hall wearing heels far too high for a children's party and a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. She scanned the room slowly. The decorations. The cake. The gift table. Her expression changed. "What is this?" she asked sharply. I blinked. "Lily's birthday party." She leaned closer. "I meant, why does it look like this?" I felt heat creep into my cheeks. "You said you wanted it modern. I hired a decorator. It's princess-themed. That's what Lily asked for." Vanessa's lips tightened. "This is excessive," she muttered. "People are going to think we can't afford our own child's party." I stared at her. "You told me you were grateful." "I was," she snapped, "but I didn't realize you'd try to take over." "Take over?" Before I could respond, Daniel approached, holding a tray of drinks. "What's wrong?" he asked. Vanessa didn't hesitate. "Your mother turned this into her show. It's embarrassing." Daniel looked around at the laughing children, the smiling parents, the bright decorations. "It looks fine," he said carefully. "It looks like we needed saving," Vanessa shot back. The words hit me like a slap. I hadn't done this to save anyone. I had done it because I love my granddaughter. I opened my mouth to explain, but Vanessa cut me off. "Actually," she said coldly, "I think it would be best if you left." I laughed softly, thinking she was joking. She was. "This is Lily's day," she continued, "and I don't want tension. You've already done enough." Daniel's face went pale. "Vanessa." "She can come by later with her gift," Vanessa said firmly, "but right now this is our party." Our party. I paid for every inch of it. Parents nearby had begun to notice the raised voices. The magician stood awkwardly by his props. Lily, bless her heart, was too busy showing a friend her tiara to sense what was happening. I looked at my son. He avoided my eyes. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. Not anger. Not even hurt. Clarity. If this was their party, then they could have it. Without my help. I reached into my purse and pulled out my phone. Vanessa folded her arms. What are you doing? Just fixing something, I replied calmly. I stepped aside and made 3 calls. The first was to the catering company. The second to the magician. The third to the hall manager. Each conversation was brief. Professional. Final. Then I walked back. Vanessa's expression flickered with uncertainty. What did you do? I smiled gently. You're absolutely right, I said. This is your party. Daniel's brow furrowed. Mom. I turned to him. I paid the deposits, I signed the contracts, they were under my name. Vanessa's face drained of color. And she whispered. And I've just canceled everything. The magician began quietly packing his equipment. 2 staff members entered from the kitchen, removing trays of untouched food. The hall manager approached with an apologetic nod. I'm afraid the reservation has been withdrawn. Vanessa looked around wildly. You can't do this, there are guests. I kept my voice steady. You asked me to leave, I am. The cake was the last thing to go. Carefully, 2 men lifted the 3-tier masterpiece and carried it toward the exit. Children started asking questions. Where the cake going? Is the magic show canceled? Confusion rippled through the room. Daniel ran a hand through his hair. Mom, this is too much. No, I said quietly, being asked to leave my own granddaughter's party is too much. Vanessa's eyes flashed with fury. You're punishing a child. I'm withdrawing what was never appreciated, I replied. Lily finally noticed the commotion. She walked over, clutching her friend's hand. Grandma, why are they taking my cake? My heart nearly broke. I knelt in front of her. Sweetheart, sometimes grown-ups forget their manners, but I promise you your birthday isn't ruined. Her lip trembled. Are you leaving? I kissed her forehead. For now, but I have a surprise. I stood, gave Daniel one last look and walked out. An hour later, Lily arrived at my house. Alone. Daniel had brought her quietly while Vanessa stayed behind, handling guests. When Lily stepped into my living room, her eyes widened. I had prepared a backup. Just in case. The dining table was covered in balloons and streamers. The cake, yes, the same cake sat proudly in the center. The magician stood by the fireplace ready to perform. Daniel stared at me. You planned this. I learned long ago, I said gently, never to depend on someone else's gratitude. Lily squealed and ran to the table. The show began. She laughed. She clapped. She forgot the earlier confusion. Daniel sat heavily in a chair. I'm sorry, he murmured. I looked at him. You chose silence. He nodded slowly. I won't again. That evening, when Vanessa called, furious, accusing, defensive, Daniel didn't hand me the phone. He handled it himself. And for the first time since he was a boy, I heard strength in his voice. A week later, Vanessa showed up at my door. No makeup. No sharp tone. Just tired eyes. I overreacted, she admitted. I felt insecure, like you were showing me up. I wasn't, I said simply. I know that now. She hesitated. I shouldn't have asked you to leave. No, I agreed. We stood in silence. I don't want Lily caught between us, she added softly. Neither do I. We didn't become best friends that day. But we found something better. Boundaries. Respect. And understanding that love is not a competition. Lily still talks about her 7th birthday. Not about the canceled hall. Not about the missing guests. But about the magic show in Grandma's living room. About the cake that tasted like fairy dust. And about the way her family came together after nearly falling apart. As for me, I learned something important. Kindness should never require humiliation. And generosity should never mean surrendering dignity. My son's wife humiliated me on my granddaughter's big day. So I responded by canceling everything. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. And sometimes, that makes all the difference.